Hello, and welcome to the U Hour, hosted by the University of Miami's Division of Continuing and International Education. I am your host, Marie Sarkeesian, and with us we have Florence Perotti, who is our producer on the computer. The U Hour is a show designed to inform you about the credit and non-credit educational programs offered by the University of Miami. All of our programs can be found online at www.edmiami.com. If you are interested in going back to school to continue your education or to help boost your resume for a new job or promotion, the University of Miami has a lot to offer you. Today, we have with us the director of the Intensive Language Institute, Julia Cayuso. Thank you, Julie, for coming. Julie, would you please tell us a little bit about the Intensive Language Institute and the programs it offers?
Sure. Thanks, Marie. The Intensive Language Institute offers non-credit foreign language classes and ESL classes. That's English as a second language. We offer classes in Portuguese, Italian, Mandarin Chinese, and Spanish. Today we're here to talk a little bit about our intensive Spanish program, which is a 7-day program that's offered throughout the year. I'm very happy to be joined by 3 of our faculty members and an alumnus. Herman Pavia is a faculty member. Esther Tillett teaches with us as well. Jeff Shimonsky studied with us. And Marta Brett is also a faculty member.
Hi.
So today we're going to give you a taste of what it's like to be in one of our classes, specifically in one of our intensive Spanish program classes. If you were a fly on the wall, this is what you'd see. Marta's going to be the instructor, and all of us and you are going to be the students. Marta.
Thank you, Julie. Buenos días, estudiantes.
Buenos días,
estudiantes. Oh, muy bien, pero yo soy la profesora. Repitan, buenos días, profesora.
Buenos días, profesora.
¡Fantástico! Muy buenos estudiantes son. Bueno, ahora vamos a estudiar la diferencia entre el verbo ser y el verbo estar. La diferencia. Los dos verbos son el verbo to be en inglés. Pero el verbo ser indica características permanentes y el verbo estar indica una situación temporal. Vamos a ver el vocabulario. Repitan, por favor. Permanente.
Permanente.
Muy bien. Indica. Temporal. Selecciona. Diferencia. Repitan. Ustedes también repitan, por favor. Característica. Delicioso. Transparente. Ejemplo. Principal. Verbos. Muy bien. Estudiar. Profesor. Muy bien. Y ahora este es el vocabulario muy similar al inglés. Esto, fría, repitan. Mira. Fría. Muy bien. Agua. Ups. Agua. Mucha agua. ¿Comprenden? Sí. Muy bien. Y ahora el verbo ser, que indica característica permanente. Yo soy, ejemplo, yo soy la profesora. Y un objeto. Característica permanente de agua es transparente. Repita, el agua es transparente. Repitan. El agua es transparente. Muy bien, es característica permanente. Es el verbo ser. El agua es transparente. Y ahora el verbo estar, que indica una situación no permanente, una situación temporal. Por ejemplo, el agua está fría. El agua está fría. Repitan.
El agua está fría.
Muy bien. Es una situación temporal. El agua está fría. ¿Comprenden?
Sí.
Ok. Muy buenos estudiantes. Muy buenos estudiantes. Fantástico. Ahora el ejemplo del verbo ser. Repita, por favor. Yo soy. Muy bien. Tú
eres.
Él
Es.
nosotros
Somos.
ellos
Son.
Muy bien, eso es característica permanente. Ahora, situación temporal. Yo
Estoy.
muy bien, tú
Estás.
él
Está.
nosotros
Estamos.
ellos
Están.
Fantástico. Ahora repasamos, vamos a ver. El agua, vamos a utilizar la característica permanente. El agua, ¿cómo es?
Transparente.
Muy bien, repitan, el agua es transparente. Fantástico, Germán. Y ahora, la situación temporal, ¿cómo es el agua? ¿Cómo es?
Fría.
Fría, muy bien, repitan, el agua está fría. Otra vez, el agua está fría. Muy bien, estudiantes, gracias.
Thank you very much, Marta.
Thanks, Marta. That really gave us a taste of what it's like to be in the classroom.
And a wet table also at the demonstration, yes.
Oh, that was a lot of fun, though.
Sorry.
That's okay.
And it showed us the immersion methodology.
Definitely immersion.
Immersed
in water.
in Spanish.
I love the visuals with the ice and the water. Crystal clear. All right, now I want to ask a couple of questions to all of you about the program that's a little bit in English this time. We'll start with Herman. Herman, if I'm a beginner, I don't know a whole lot of Spanish, or maybe I know a little bit, but I'd like to learn a little bit more. What will I be able to do in a 7-day time span?
First of all, we give you Spanish test. Since you don't know anything, we will place you in the beginning level. In the beginning level, we teach you how all the techniques, all the mechanics of the language, to develop your oral skills. We concentrate on the oral skills, not the written skills, in order to train your hearing, so you'll be able to communicate effectively in any community that speaks Spanish, in the present tense, in the present progressive, and in the immediate future. So you will be able to handle any questions, any situation at the hotel, at the restaurant, at any of the places where you may go to the movies, to the market, etc., or with the family. So it is quite an accomplishment for only 7 days. And our program has been known for over 20 years to be a rather successful one. It is one of the best Spanish programs that it is in the United States. And we receive comments, very positive, and we also receive students from everywhere in the United States and outside of the United States who come to partake of our program, because our program is a very well thought program. And our instructors are rather professional, very well trained, very well prepared, and able to help the students no matter what his or her ability or knowledge in Spanish. We are prepared to meet those circumstances.
So you're saying, as a non-Spanish speaker, within 7 days, say I was taking the class because I knew I was going on a vacation to maybe Central or South America, that I would be at least able to make my travel plans and get around town and be able to order food or something?
Yes, indeed. You will be able to make reservations in the hotel, order food, go sightseeing, asking the tourist guide about different things, go shopping. Not only in the grocery store, but in any of the clothing store or whatever, to buy souvenirs, etc., etc.
Now, I also know there are, we have a business and a medical track for the intensive Spanish program. So say you were in business or you were a doctor and you, again, didn't know a whole lot of Spanish, you could do this class again to maybe be able to speak to a client or a patient, correct?
By all means, we also are prepared with the program and the instructors to handle the medical angle of the program and the business program. We will again develop those skills, and we have the methodology and the techniques to project that to the students.
Thank you very much.
Can I just interject something, if you don't mind? For example, last time during our immersion program, we have very small classes, and so we can often tailor our classes to the needs of our students as much as possible, and we do, because the classes are so small and because the course is intensive. And we had a couple of doctors in one of my classes last time, and they were very eager to learn some medical vocabulary. So we did, in my class, we did a couple of skits in the medical environment, and this was at the basic level. So it was like how to fill out a form and how to handle people. Exactly.
May I say something else? We have an example here. Jeff, who is an expert in agriculture and botanic and so forth, he has been asking us terminology which is pertinent to his specialty, and we have tried to help him in every way so he can write for a newspaper about this program, in Spanish, that will be published in different countries in Latin America. So we are able to meet whatever circumstances come up.
And that definitely was a concern of mine because of my profession. As in any profession, the vocabulary is specialized, and I wanted to be able to communicate or speak with potential clients or people in my field and do it and not sound illiterate. This program definitely helped quite a bit.
Great.
Esther, talking about, Herman mentioned that people who take the 7-day program can then communicate in a variety of countries. Is that true? Where can people speak Spanish that we teach?
Okay, anybody that takes our classes are prepared to speak Spanish anywhere where Spanish is spoken. And the reason is that we teach standard Spanish, also known as universal or global. And this is a very professional and ordered standard of the language. So therefore, if you go anywhere where the language is spoken, you will be able to communicate, regardless where. Spain, South America.
What are some differences between other countries that maybe came up as a challenge as a student or one of the students in the class? Maybe they knew they were going somewhere. Have you ever focused in on maybe if you knew that they were going to a specific country, maybe giving them some extra tips?
Well, usually we talk about the culture. And if the person is interested in a particular place, well, then we just try to teach them vocabulary that's going to be used in that particular area. So it depends. Like Martha said, we kind of tailor around the students' needs. Our classes are small, so we can offer that.
Right.
And the fact that we have teachers from a variety of countries that are readily available there to the students and can give them vocabulary from different countries. Herman's from Colombia, so he can use all of the Colombian vocabulary if a business person is going to be traveling to Colombia or dealing with Colombian clients, for example.
If I could add to that, that is one of the problems I have communicating with people from different countries. At times I have great difficulty with certain accents. And I think in the intensive program I had perhaps 5 teachers from different countries, and that really helped. That helped to fine-tune my understanding of different accents, which is important. So many people from different countries down here.
Yes, it is.
And also our classes are rather small in order to activate the interaction between the instructors and the students and among the students, because we believe in teaching Spanish in the Spanish class and to make the students think in Spanish, not to translate. So there'll be ample opportunity to partake, to participate, and to practice their Spanish.
I know the teachers rotate a little bit and they might have different accents between all of them. Did it take you maybe an hour or a day for you to get used to it, or when did you feel that you felt comfortable that it didn't matter what country that they were coming from, that you could just understand?
Well, I suppose it depends on my background and my experience, but there were a couple of teachers that I had to listen very clearly to begin with, and then, I understood their accent because they speak clearly. They're very well educated, but there definitely is a difference, and even in speaking English, I have a problem sometimes with people from certain areas with dialects, and you have the same problem. I have the same problem in Spanish, so this really helped me.
I'm sure. Marta, for example, how would somebody be able to learn Spanish in Spanish, especially with all of our different accents as we were talking about?
Oh, absolutely. We feel that this is one of the best, fastest, most fun ways to learn Spanish, because language in our classes is used as a tool for communication and not as a formula or translation, which when you speak, when you try to communicate, when you go to all these countries that we mentioned, you're not going to sit there and going subject, verb, whatever. You're going to want to just use the language to communicate, and that's what we try to help our students do. So we use a lot of gestures. As Herman said, we try to make them think right away in Spanish as opposed to the translation method. And above all, we try to emphasize that they shouldn't worry about making mistakes, because mistakes, in fact, are their best friends, if they correct them, of course.
Well, that's interesting. Why are mistakes their best friends? Did you maybe have an example of making a bad mistake or something that you learned from it, or?
I may make more mistakes than most, but what's good about the program and the fact that it's entirely in Spanish is that the mistakes I would make would constantly be reinforced with the correct way to say something. And believe it or not, now when I speak Spanish, I can hear Herman, I can hear Esther. No. And it's really helped, but you need to learn how to say things properly if you want to be taken seriously professionally.
Yeah. And
it really helped.
I guess that it's a point when you maybe say something incorrectly the first time and then someone brings it to your attention, you become more aware of it, I'm assuming, than if you were just saying it outright and no one mentioned anything at all. You assume that you're saying it correctly, but until someone points it out, oh, you said it this way, you maybe try saying it this way, then again, you start hearing that person's voice and you associate it.
Well, some of these mistakes are habitual, having learned a lot of Spanish in the street, and it's difficult to get rid of bad habits sometimes, so it takes a lot of reinforcement, but it's definitely worth the effort.
Yeah, I'm habitual. I'm assuming a lot of our students maybe knew a little bit of Spanish just from interacting with other Spanish-speaking people, so I'm sure that would be a great reason to take this course to maybe correct those mistakes.
Absolutely.
We do correct the mistakes after the recitation, not during the recitation, because we don't want to inhibit the students, because that the purpose of the mistake is to dare to make mistakes, because then they learn from that. But we don't interrupt the students until his or her recitation is completed.
Of course, you don't want them to be too shy to say
we don't
nothing.
want to inhibit them or make them so afraid to speak and so forth. We want them to be freely. There are cases in which the mistake is being sort of recycled many times, and so we have to eradicate those mistakes, because that's very easy to continue making the mistake, the street Spanish.
Do you find that students are nervous to speak up at first?
Definitely, most people, that's human nature. When you try to speak in a so-called foreign language, that's one thing that I said at the onset. I said, the moment that you say buenos dias is not my language, it's yours. So then internalize that, because that's your language, is not mine. So that way they begin to loosen up and to assume that, and I said, this is your second language. This is not my language, it's yours. So that they be conscious of that language. In the same manner that they communicate in English effectively, they can also communicate in Spanish, even though they are not as loquacious or respond as fast. However, the response has to be determined according to the level.
Herman,
yeah.
Tell them about the name, the new name,
the
Spanish
yes.
name.
Thank you, Esther. One of the things that we do is the following. When Julia introduces to the new class in the 7-day program, she asked me to speak to sort of giving a different name to each one. For example, Jeff, I call him Juan. He loves to be called Don Juan, by the way. And so, why do we change the names? Because there was a very famous American tenor, John Pierce, who sang the arias of Richard Wagner in flawless German. And people thought that he was a German person. So one of the newspaper interviewed him. He says, "No, I do not speak German. I am an American." And so he said, "Well, how come you speak German so well?" He says, "Well, the moment that anyone speaks to me in German, in English, my brain switches back to English." So that analogy, I use it in the class, we use it in the class, because the students, when we are conducting the class in Spanish, then they feel the environment in Spanish. The hearing gets used to Don Juan, and so forth, and Maria, Beatriz, etc. They love that. And I have had Japanese students that I call him, for example, his name is Tukuchuku, whatever name. And then I say Pepe, and they love Pepe. And I see him, doctors, later, 2 years, 3 years, and say, Herman, Pepe. So they enjoy their name. They feel very proud of it. So that's something that helps very much.
Yeah. So you associate a new name to everybody in the very beginning?
At the very beginning of the course,
Julia tells
we
me
give them the new name.
Right, and she assigns me to change each one, the names, and she writes them down, and the not the certificate, but the tag, the identification.
The IDs?
she makes sure that each one has a...
Throughout the duration of the course, the students have that alter ego name. So they know one another as their Spanish name, and the instructors know them under their Spanish name, and all week long in the 7-day program, they are their Spanish name. And that helps with their identity. It helps keep them in Spanish all the time. Because they even have a Spanish name. And so it helps them to think in Spanish and to function in Spanish.
Right. So all their mistakes are done with their Spanish
Are
name,
made
but all
by-
their successes are also
Yeah,
done
exactly. That's
in
one
the
of the
Spanish
reasons,
name.
because in the class there are people who are professional, others who are students, others who are older and doctors, etc. We don't have titles for the instructors, not for the students, because everybody is on the same level. Therefore, we eliminate the barriers. And so when they say, so we have the names so that they lose the fear of making mistakes, because as Julia says, it's Jose or Don Juan who's making the mistakes, not Jeff. And also, everybody feels that they're on the same level, not doctor, professor, nothing of the kind. So everybody feels, and the doctor who is in command in his office, or the president of the corporation we have, the bank and so on, is not embarrassed to make mistakes, because he's one of them, okay?
It sounds like an excellent way to keep everyone on the same playing field when they walk
Exactly,
in.
the same
and
plane.
I'm sure it makes them more of a family too, because they're all getting a new name at the same time.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm sure it also helps with nervousness, because I know if I were to walk into a class and have them ask me to start speaking in a language I'm not familiar with, I would be very nervous.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would too if I were to be. But this helps tremendously. And sometimes I ask the students, do you, I don't force them, do you want the Spanish name that I give you? Sometimes they say, no, I like this other Spanish name, or keep my name in English. And so I don't force them. Like in the case of Juan, I said Juan, and he says, no, I like Don Juan. I said, well, okay, Don Juan, right?
Thank you very much. Julia, do all the students go into the same level as Spanish? And if not, how are they divided up?
Okay. No, all the students don't go into the same level. That wouldn't work out well for us. But we do have a variety of levels, and we give a free online placement test to the students prior to their starting the class. And they can access that test on our website.
Yes. If you go to our website, edmiami.com, and go to our languages and click on Spanish, it'll be on our menu on our right-hand side, and I believe Florence will post the link for everybody to go and check that out. It's just a couple of online questions that they have to fill out online. And
yeah, they take the test online, we receive it automatically, and then one of the instructors calls the student to orally interview and assess their Spanish by phone. So that gives us a good, well-rounded picture of the proficiency level of the student, and then we place them into the most appropriate level based on that.
all right, thank you. Is it always the same teacher that calls up, or?
Sometimes it's Herman, mostly it's Herman who gives the calls, but there's a variety of teachers who will call.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. So, Marta, I wanted you to tell us a little bit about the techniques that are used in the classes. We saw some of your teaching techniques with realia, real things.
The immersion in water, yes.
But tell us more about what techniques you use.
Well, I think that if a student would come to visit one of our classes, he or she would see a very interactive process going on. We try to keep the students always talking and participating in our classes so that they wouldn't just be sitting there and listening to a lecture, as you can see. So we tend to use a lot of pair groups, or at least I do a lot of pairs and groups, depending on how many people and what the exercise is, what they're trying to learn. And they are, for example, interviewing one another, asking each other questions, And I like them then to report that to the class so that we can all share the information, make comments as a class. So they're working in pairs and as a class. And I will be going from group to group or pair to pair, participating also in the conversation, offering suggestions, making stupid comments. And it's a lot of fun. But in addition to this, of course, because students have many ways of learning, and some, the oral way works better with some, writing works better with others, drills and repetition. So we try to give sort of a rounded way of learning so that each student, no matter what way he is best for him to learn, we expose him to that. So we do drills, but for example, I have a big ball and I have them stand up because they're sitting a long time. The immersion is from 9 to 4:30 sometimes. So I have them stand up, get in a circle, throw the ball, repeat the verbs, and they seem to enjoy that a lot and have fun. And one thing very important as well is we change teachers every hour so that they get that exposure, as we mentioned before, to the different cultures and teaching styles.
Jeff, I was wondering, what was maybe one of your favorite techniques that helped you grasp the language the best or the fastest?
I don't think there was any one technique, and there's so many facets to language. But I knew, or I learned quickly, the points I needed to concentrate on. And I think the repetition and the total immersion in Spanish helped greatly. I don't think there was any one technique that really did it. And actually, I probably didn't notice a lot what the different techniques were, but the teachers just constantly continued, and it was very helpful the way they did it.
And it's non-stop, as you said, from morning until afternoon.
Exactly.
For 7 days. So I'm sure you probably were just so immersed in it and going with the flow that you probably didn't even notice what they were.
But with breaks for food, I just want to point out,
Of course.
we do feed our
Lunch.
students periodically.
course.
Because they need the energy.
That's right.
Esther, everybody knows that language and culture are pretty much married together, that they're interchangeable. Is culture also a part of the 7-day Spanish course?
Definitely. Our goal as teachers is not only to teach the language, but to help the student integrate in any Hispanic culture. And for that respect, we offer different activities where the students are able to participate, such as we provide them with local lunches, almuerzos from restaurants, Hispanic restaurants. We take them on a tour to Little Havana. We walk and we visit some shops, we see some landmarks. We take them to a tour to the Lowell Museum, and we have a Spanish tour. We go out one night for tapas and wine tasting in a typical Spanish tavern.
Now, what exactly are tapas?
Tapas are tidbits, Spanish appetizers, small dishes. You can have Spanish omelets, Spanish sausages, to taste the
very
food,
typical
the local,
Spanish.
typical Spanish.
Is it from Spain, or is it
Like
almost
Olivier's.
It's from
from
Yeah.
Spain specifically?
As a matter of fact, I think they bring all their stuff from Spain, all the cheese and
The
there's
ham.
the ham,
Yes.
Spanish ham.
and the wine.
All right, this is during lunch. Don't make us hungry.
Yes. So they get a taste of.
And don't forget the dance class.
Oh, the dance
We have a
class.
dance
We have a
class.
salsa class.
Yeah.
Taught
There's
by
salsa
a
class.
couple. They are professional teachers, dance instructors, and we have a dance class.
And we
Salsa.
have the dance class videos on YouTube.
Oh, okay,
That's right. Our YouTube link is youtube.com/Education Miami. We put up the dance videos and
Yes.
also some of the skits that the
Oh, the
students
skits.
did
At
in
the end of the
class.
class.
Yeah, we have 2 of them up there. So if you're watching at home, you can look at those after our show. So
Actually, we didn't go into detail on the skits.
no, we didn't.
which are very important, actually.
Very important part of the program. Yeah.
And
it's the culminating activity.
It is. So on the last day of the program, each group, the basic, the intermediate, the advanced, get together and create a skit, which they invent themselves.
In Spanish?
Yeah. Yes. Everything is in Spanish. Yes, of course. But the professors don't help them as far as correcting grammar. So it's very spontaneous, using the vocabulary they've learned, and they have a ball. I videotape them every time. Sometimes the videotape's not so good. Sometimes it's excellent. But the skits are always a lot of fun.
Yes.
Everybody always enjoys them.
Yes. And the students have a real sense of accomplishment at the end of the week I mean, Jeff, you can speak to this.
No, absolutely. I'm really glad I took the time to take this program. It was my vacation time, and I thought a lot about it. Do I want to do that? And I thought, well, let me try it. And it was very well worth it, because at the end of the day, it definitely improved my ability to communicate with professionals and people that I meet. And it also refined my ability to understand certain accents, which I had a big problem with. That really helped. So it was worth it.
I'm sure you had a great sense of accomplishment being able to have a discussion and not just repeating certain vocabulary words, too.
Right. The only thing that didn't improve, I think, was my dancing skills.
We have to work on that.
We have to work on that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we have to work. Jeff, would you take the program again?
I definitely would. And it would be nice, even in there's so many facets to learning a language, to be able to write and understand it better. I used to hate writing, but professionally you need to communicate in a written way, and just to be able to send an email, that's really important to make it understandable. And hopefully I can continue to do so. I'd like to take the program again.
Now, Julie, what do you mean by take it again? You're saying he can take the course several times, or is he going to be put into a different level?
Sure, yes. We have students who take the course several times, and because they can take it at a different level. And so every time, and because of the makeup of the classes, the program is different every time. We try and vary the cultural activities. The food is certainly different each time.
Yes.
But the instruction, the content of the course is different at every level. So yes, students can come back and do come back and take it at a variety of levels.
Well, also there's so much material presented. It's actually good to do a review to reinforce what you've learned, because when you're out speaking it in civilization, nobody's correcting you. Or usually nobody's correcting you. So it is good to reinforce it. But I did notice with different teachers, you just automatically tend to work on certain things more so than other teachers.
And I'm sure it's also a lot of fun. It's practically a vacation for some people, isn't it? Coming to Miami and enjoying the food and the dancing.
People come in from out of town. We've had people come in from out of town and take the course, and it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, and the students very much bond during that week. I mean, they're with each other for more than 40 hours of instruction, during the week. So it's intense.
They have breakfast together, lunch together. They dance together.
And Julia, didn't the location move? Usually it was on the main campus.
Yes. We used to do the program on the main campus, but now we do it on our Little Havana campus called the Quebec Center. It's a mansion from 1926, I believe, from the 1920s.
Yeah,
the structure is from the 1920s. It's beautiful Spanish architecture. And there are modern classrooms that are built on to that facility. So we have everything. It's in the middle of Little Havana. We're surrounded by Spanish businesses and just a Spanish ambiance. And we are in a historic mansion, but we also have the modern facilities there. So that was a wonderful move for us. So all of the classes coming up in 2010 will be at that facility.
It is a beautiful facility. It's run very well. Julie, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the details of the program? And when it
Sure.
starts?
Sure, happy to do it. The 7-day intensive program is offered 5 times throughout the year, almost every other month. We start in January, and then we have the program in March, May, July, and October. It starts on a Saturday morning and runs through the following Friday. So it's a 7-day program. It takes up a weekend and then the weekdays. The program runs from 9 a.m. until 4 or 4:30, depending on our afternoon activities. Breakfast and lunch is included every day. All of the books and materials are included for the course. All of the textbook and the CDs are included in the course tuition price. The tuition for 2010 is $1,800 for the complete course, as I said, including breakfast and lunch daily, all of the cultural activities, and the teaching materials. And we have a discount for people that are listening to this webcast, and Marie would tell us about that.
Yes, our discount just for listening to this episode of our U Hour is U Hour ISP, short for Intensive Spanish Program, and that will get you $100 off the Intensive Spanish Program. So while you're registering for the course online at edmiami.com, once you put the item into your shopping cart, there's an area for your discount code, and you just enter in U Hour ISP, and it'll take off the $100. Mm-hmm.
Well, I just wanted to also mention that we have a 3-day mini immersion class coming up in December. The 7 days starts in January, but if you're very eager to start Spanish, we have a 3-day mini course that runs in December on a long weekend. It runs a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, December 11th, 12th, and 13th. And the beauty of that course is that it's focused, there are 2 tracks. You can take Spanish for Business or Spanish for Healthcare. So the course is for beginners only, and it's for Spanish for Business or Spanish for Healthcare in the 3-day mini immersion. And that's somebody calling right now to register for that mini immersion.
Oh, do they get $100 off also for the mini immersion, or is it just for the 7-day?
The discount is just for the 7-day. We will notify everyone on updates for the mini immersion as they get closer. So if you're following us on Twitter, I'm sure you'll get those updates as well. And our Twitter username is edmiami, the same as our live stream username. Okay. Florence, I believe we might have a question or two from the chat room.
We do. Okay, we have a question. Do the teachers have office hours, or is there a time to talk about the questions that a student may have from class?
Oh, that's a great question. During the 7-day intensive program, the teachers are available at breakfast. The teachers are there all day. The teachers are available at breakfast. The teachers are available at lunch. So you're actually having breakfast and lunch with your instructors and your classmates. So that's the perfect time to sit down and speak with a teacher, get clarification on a teaching point, ask all of the questions you want, and review material. The teachers are also available after classes at the end of the day when class is finished.
And we even let them ask questions in English during that time.
Yes, that's true. They can ask questions in English during that time. That's on the
Yes, on the hush-hush.
Okay, that ties to the next question. Is only Spanish spoken in the classroom?
1, 2, 3. Yes! Yes. Only Spanish is spoken in the classroom. Even for the beginners, which is very interesting. I'm not one of the instructors, but I know that when they walk over that threshold into the classroom, all of the instruction, all of the communication is in Spanish. Is that right?
That's correct. Absolutely.
And I hope there's no initial shock because they're aware of that before they walk in, that it's going to be totally in Spanish, except for breakfast and lunch.
No, it's in Spanish too, but if you have some special questions, then we do make an exception.
Of course. Okay, we have another question here. What is the size of the class?
Oh, that's a good question. The maximum size for the classes is 15. We rarely reach that. As everyone has said, we have very small classes. We have between 5 and 10 students in a class. Jeff? Well, I believe when you were in class, it was even smaller than that.
Started out with 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 students in a class.
But he's very advanced.
At the advanced level, sometimes
Yes.
the classes are very small, which means there's even more contact time for the students to improve their Spanish. And the class can be more customized.
But it's also good to have other students in there because you listen to them. There's definitely competition to do better. It's better than just being alone or having just one other person with you.
Yeah, the dynamics of the classes.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think that's it for our questions for today. If you think of something else at a later time that you want to ask us, you can always email us. It's edmiami@miami.edu, or you can go to our website and fill out a Contact Us request, and we'll send it over to one of our staff members to give you a call and answer your question. And I just want to thank everybody here for coming and for everyone online for listening to this installment of the U Hour. You can find out more information about the 7-day intensive Spanish program at www.educationmiami.com/7day. Plus, don't forget, if you act now, you will get that $100 discount just for watching this show, and that discount again is UHourISP. Just use that promotional code upon checkout. And I want to say thank you to our special guests, Julia, Herman, Marta, Jeff, and Esther for coming today. And remember, it's the you. And it's all about you.